What's up? Welcome to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Taylor Swift's 11th album, The Tortured Poets Department. Surprise, surprise, Taylor Swift is back in our lives in 2024, like she never left. Of course, it's been a very busy time in the Taylor Swift business, as I'm sure everybody knows. The Eras Tour on its way to being the highest grossing concert tour of all time. The Eras movie, very successful last year. Of course, the Travis Kelce relationship still going strong. Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift along for that ride. On the more negative side of things, you have Taylor Swift's music being removed from TikTok as a member of Universal Music Group. And yet she has just recently returned to TikTok with music in the lead up to this new album, something that has gotten a polarized reception, because why should Taylor Swift get special treatment from her label? Yes, you understand the business angle of maybe why she can pull that off, but is that right? Is that a good way to treat other artists? That being said, I think Taylor also got some criticism for how she announced the Tortured Poets Department, which was literally on stage while accepting a Grammy win just a few months ago, of course, winning Album of the Year and other awards for her last album, Midnights. So Taylor, at this point has proven that she is so invested in maintaining her pop stardom and so really, I think, able to continue to do it, right? She has never been more popular. She has never been more famous. She's never been more powerful than she is right at this moment. And of course, lest we forget that she's been re-releasing her Taylor's version re-recording albums of her albums that she did not own the full masters to, of course, and that pursuit will continue, we assume, soon enough, with Reputation being the last record to receive such treatment. Nonetheless, you have a new album out here with the Tortured Poets Department, and I think being the follow-up to Midnights is kind of an interesting place as well, because Midnights, despite the Album of the Year win, I think a lot of people see that victory and that historic third Album of the Year win for Taylor at the Grammys 2 months ago. I think people really view that as kind of a award for the massive 2023 that Taylor Swift had, whereas Midnights, of course, having a monster hit, excellent song, and Antihero, despite all that, it's no one's favorite Taylor Swift album, which is no shot against Taylor. Again, it was her 10th record. They can't all be the best. But, I think it was certainly an uneven album, but there were highs to it for sure. I have to say that Taylor Swift's 11th album, The Tortured Poets Department, is not what I wanted the follow-up to Midnights to be. The songwriting does not match the music on this album. I think there's some genuine, interesting, funny, personable songwriting on this album, and of course some deeply referential stuff to Taylor Swift's life. The line about Charlie Puth should be a better artist is super genuine and kind of awesome. I love her kind of pushing back against people that criticized her for dating Maddie Healy. Problem with this album is that Jack Antonoff was asleep the entire time. It's just so bland to me, this monochrome, ambient, staid synth-pop that Taylor and Jack have become quite comfortable and familiar with making. And to me, the music just doesn't pop on this album. Like, I didn't hear a hit on here. Musically, it just comes across as quite dull. The moments that actually have like some punch to them, whether it's like Guilty as a Sin or the Florence and the Machine song Florida, or the closer Clara Bow, like they stand out because there's actually like noise and like instrumentation build up to those, and there's actually some personality to those songs, and they really come alive because of course we know what kind of writer Taylor Swift can be. But for the most of this track list, which the main album is 16 songs, 65 minutes, it's pretty samey. And then you get this anthology version, which is doubling the length of the song, a bunch of bonus tracks, none of which really add much of anything to this. And I don't know. Like, you got to be really invested in some of that songwriting, I think, because the music, I don't think, invites you back. Track 1, the lead single, Fortnite, features Post Malone. And honestly, my biggest takeaway with that song, which I think is solid for what it is, again, a lot of these songs are kind of dull to me, but when the drums kick in, the chorus is solid. Taylor's singing pretty softly on it, but Post Malone is in by far the coldest stretch of his career. Circles came out in 2019, unless you forget. And yet, in the past month, Post Malone has been on a Taylor Swift album and a Beyonce album. I mean, honestly, like, talk about, putting food on the table, man. Very impressive to me. And I'm not a post guy, but like it's pretty shocking. But yeah, I think that song's okay. I think the second song's a lot stronger, the Tortured Poets Department, where that's where you get, some of these, I think, big quotables, right? We declared Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist. Honestly, I think I deserve a writing credit for that. I've been saying that for years. But in all seriousness, that's like a cool thing here, platformed, right? Charlie Puth, famous pop artist, by no means a superstar. He should be a bigger artist. He's a very talented songwriter. I think a lot of people agree with that. Really cool to hear that from Taylor Swift, and now that's going to be a normie opinion. I think that's awesome. I don't know how I feel about one of the other lines right after that. I scratch your head, you fall asleep like a tattooed golden retriever. Obviously, it's a reference to Travis Kelce being like the golden retriever boyfriend, the meme. Is it a bit corny? Is it a bit too obvious? A line like that? I don't know. I thought Down Bad was solid because there's actually like some sticky melody on that. You don't get a lot of that on this. Like, it's certainly like a stark contrast to Midnight's in that regard. So Long London, I think people saw this one coming when they saw the track list, but R.I.P. Joe Alwyn. That song has a nice slow build to it, pretty cool. But Daddy, I Love Him. I think this is probably my favorite songwriting on this. This is the song about, of course, Matty Healy and the criticism Taylor got for dating him due to his polarizing and controversial nature due to the things he's said and done in the past. Biggest chorus so far on that track list to that point. But I think just like Taylor Swift actually kind of pushing back, taking ownership. And that's pushing back on her fans, people that criticized her because they like her, and I it's cool to hear, I think, that kind of punchiness from Taylor. You don't quite always get that. Fresh Out the Slammer, I think this is where the songwriting can be maybe a little corny, right? Referring to like being single again and being like, all right, let's get after it kind of thing. It's okay. Florida, featuring Florence and the Machine, really stands out because it's unlike basically the whole track list to that point. It's almost kind of like a soft rock, like power rock type song. Florence is definitely making her presence known. Guilty as Sin, as I said, probably one of my favorite songs on here. Super up tempo. Yeah, and again, like there's like nothing up tempo to this point on it, so it's nice change, and the chorus really picks up on it. I think Clara Bow's a nice closer, but ultimately, like, I just don't think there's a lot of pop on here. Not like pop like the genre music, but like stuff that pops out at you. Because again, I feel like this is really samey sonics, and it's just kind of bland. I think a lot of this writing, a lot of these song structures, because it's coming from Taylor Swift and it's coming from Jack Antonoff, would work a lot better on just a different style of pop music than what this is. Anthology, you do get, I think, a kind of funny diss to Kim Kardashian, the Thank You Amy song. I don't know. Taylor Swift dissing Kim and Kanye by extension in 2024, like, we're still doing this? Like, it would have been more interesting and entertaining if you had that smoke publicly on a song 10 years ago when this happened, or 8 years ago, whenever it was. It feels kind of old hat to me now, but I still respect the fuck you of it all, I suppose. Of course, ultimately, like, reception to this album, popularity for this album doesn't matter at all because it's Taylor's 11th album and it doesn't compare, nor could it ever really compare to all her past classic works or her reinventions that she did, like Folklore, for example. So what is this really here to do? It's just kind of here to keep the house warm, So here's some more stuff because Taylor has been flooding the zone lately between the Taylor's versions, the Vault re-release tracks, Midnight's, this album getting 15 more bonus tracks. Like, this is just kind of Taylor's MO right now. It's a lot less curated because she doesn't need to be curated. So I guess in a sense, that's perhaps disappointing because it's not as inspiring artistically, but she's also, of course, too big to fail and in the midst of her most successful run ever. So, I mean, who does it really matter? I guess, Will this contend for Album of the Year at the Grammys? We'll see. She'll be up against Beyonce. Gotta say, Cowboy Carter's a lot better than this. So that's what I'll be pulling for, especially because Beyonce hasn't won this category yet, unfortunately. So we'll see about that. That'll be a fun thing to talk about in the year to come. But yeah, Taylor Swift's 11th album, The Tortured Poets Department, Didn't do it for me. I'm sure it'll do it for a lot of Swifties, though, because that's how it goes. Let me know, what did you like about it? Did you like it more than me? If so, please let me know why. And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.